Most men either dominate or disappear, but the man who leads with calm, grounded presence wins in love every time because a woman wants to be led. The feminine experience is watery, emotional, wavy, and she wants to be led, but in a way where she can remain connected to herself, where she actually gets to know the essence of what she's meant to bring in love even more, and then has the container to do it. That's why a woman wants to be led. The reason she chooses you as a partner is she sees your potential in leading her in life. Now, the sad thing is, most men unconsciously have learned from culture and their fathers to dominate and disappear instead. And then that's confusing for women because in the initial attraction, they're drawn to your potential to lead, which is often very strong in the beginning because we have procreation hormones and we want to romance and wine and dine. And then once we do get them, what can unconsciously happen if we fall asleep at the wheel is we just slip into shadowy behaviors, which is domination and avoidance, disappearing. Now, in this video, I want to give you the most simple, practical way to look at leadership. So make sure you stick to this because I'm going to give you a really helpful acronym that if you practice and learn and implement this, you will be a master at leading in love. You will be a master at leading in your relationship in a way where you feel deeply fulfilled. But first, I just want to share why this is so important with a brief story of my past, my lived experience in this one. This isn't just learned in a book. I had to learn this one the hard way, which I often do in my life. Learning more and more to soften those edges so that I don't have to learn the hard way. And this is why I'm creating this content for you, so you don't have to learn the hard way. And let me feel you. If you're like me and you learn the hard way, let me know in the comments. Type, oh, I learned the hard way. Okay, so in my previous marriage, I definitely led really well in the beginning. It swept my ex-wife off her feet. She was in a relationship when we met, and the way that I was leading, the way that I was showing up was very attractive. This is what women are attracted to, is how we move in our bodies, how we take up space in a room, how we lead our own lives. I remember her sharing with me, before we got together, or after we got together, I shared, like, what was it? What was it about me that you wanted to be with me? Because she ended up, short version is, leaving her partnership to be with me. And good learnings from that one, which is for another video. She said to me, she scrolled through my Facebook and then saw the life that I was leading. And I had traveled, I was fit, it showed good leadership. That's attractive. Women will choose a partner like you based off of your potential of leadership. Now, the thing is, once we got together, I slipped into the conditioning of what I watched growing up from my father. I slipped into the shadowy conditioning of what our culture mirrors and models, which is changing in lots of ways. And that shadowy expression is the domination, is the disappearing. I started to use my power unconsciously. I didn't consciously choose this, but unconsciously used my power to get a lot of my way. We started to live a life of a lot of the things that I wanted to be living, because she would share and I would share my opinion, and my opinions would often be very convincing of, like, that's the way. And it led to her leaving unexpectedly. We were together for 7 years, and I had no idea what the ending was coming. I had no idea the end was coming. It was one day I was sitting in my living room on the couch, and she walked in the door. She had this certain look on her face, and I remember sitting there going, and she just looked at me and she said, "I'm done." And I was like, "What? Done?" So shocked, so confused. And a couple weeks later, once we were relating about all the separation and all the practical things, I asked her a question of like, why? Why are you going now? I didn't even know this was coming. Why? And what she said really stuck with me. And she said, Mike, I don't even know what's real for me anymore. I don't know who I am. She had herself unconsciously followed the way that I was dominating the space with my energy and my power. And she just went along for the ride for so many years that in her experience, she lost who she was. She didn't know. She's like, I don't actually know what I want or who I am. I feel like I kind of just went along with what you wanted. And her saying that hurt me so bad. And if you've been in a similar situation like this, or maybe dancing that right now where things are feeling a bit rocky, it's a painful place to be, because in all the men that I've supported over the years, something that I believe to be true and I know to be true is deep down biologically, men don't want to hurt or harm anyone, but we are programmed to lead, to conquer, to build, to become. And if we aren't initiated as men and we aren't guided into true leadership, we will take over a space in a relationship. And it's painful to have that mirrored back because it's not actually what we're wanting. It's not what we want, but if we're asleep at the wheel and we don't have the proper orientation, it's what ends up happening. And it's so defeating. And the amount of shame that I've seen in men, the tears, the crumbling in front of me when they express and take responsibility for the symptoms and the byproduct of them doing that for so many years, it's just, it brings me to tears every time, because no man is actually meaning to do that. And if you're watching this, especially if you're watching this video, I know you're not a man that means to create harm either. You just don't know. So I'm glad that you're sitting here, investing your time and your energy to learn how to lead in a way you weren't taught. Now let me teach you, because first of all, when we talk about leadership, I want to simplify it for you in 3 words that hopefully sticks with you. And this is a sacred principle. True leadership is direction over domination. Direction over domination. Like, let that land, feel that. Direction over domination. True, healthy, embodied leadership is saying, this is the direction we're going, and then guiding in that direction. But when it's direction, it's just highlighting the way. It's not controlling and forcing everyone to go that way. It's there's choice in there. There's freedom to choose to go in that direction or not. That's true leadership. It's energy that inspires people to move and mobilize, not do it out of fear. Domination is out of fear. So direction over domination. You, especially when this comes to your relationship to your partner, you are not here to control her. You are here to guide the container. You are not here to control her. You are here to guide the container. That is the essence of mature masculinity in sacred partnership, in sacred relationship is what I call it. If you're new to this channel, in my language, it's sacred relationship is being in partnership with the intention to awaken together, to evolve together, to grow together, to become what you were born to become using the medium of relationship. That's sacred relationship. Now, the masculine orientation is that. The masculine orientation of that is, you're not there to control her. You're there to guide the container. She needs you for that. That's why she chose you to be in partnership with, is she trusts that you can be the container for her to evolve and emerge into her feminine expression in this world, which is bringing her unique light, her unique essence. Okay, now to go even deeper, if you're still watching this, this is the part, the acronym that I want you to hang on to, where you can actually learn about true leadership in love. true leadership in relationship. And it's the acronym of LEAD, which stands for listen, envision, act, and devote. Now I'm going to go deeper on each one, but I want to repeat that. Listening, envision, act, and devote. If you learn how to implement these things and to lead in this way, your entire life will change. Now, when we're talking about this first one of listening, this is one of the biggest pain points for the feminine, is where they feel misattuned to. This is a strong word that comes up in the relational space, is where women are feeling misattuned to. Now, what attunement means is that there is enough presence that the person you're relating with, let's say your partner here, feels seen, heard, and understood. That's attunement. That there is enough presence, the distraction, you're cut off from all distractions, and you're so present with your partner that you really are gaining a deeper understanding of her in the moment, of her patterns, of her emotions. You can feel the essence of what she's sharing behind the words. And when you relate back to her, she feels seen, she feels attuned to, she feels safe, secure in her body. When we as humans, and we all need this, you as a man need, you need this too. When we receive attunement, we are able to integrate into higher levels of health, which I'll make a whole nother video on that. But just know that the science and the research shows we will then be able to integrate our lived experience if we have the quality of attunement. Women need that even more so, because in their inner experience, again, this has been studied by even the Gottman. The Gottman studied this for decades in their love lab, is what they call it. They studied all the inner experiences and the reactivities and the emotional states of women versus men. And women, most of the time, are in an uneasy, fearful state. That's how they're designed. They're just with the hormones, the way they're designed, the amygdala has more activation. And the thing that helps them to feel safer in their body is if they have, and this is what's super cool in the facts, is if they have a partner who has the capacity to know them and attune to them and offer over touch when they're in states of arousal. So with this first piece, the reason you want to learn how to listen is that's the practice to be able to attune. If you can't stay present with your partner and she's talking and you're inside with a narrative of like, oh, when is this going to be over? Which is a common experience for a lot of men. Or like, oh my God, she talks so much. Or, oh my God, is this, where's the end? And, oh, or you're trying to think of how to solve what she's saying or fix it. Then you're not being present. And then if that's what's happening, she's going to get irritated, frustrated, critical, and that'll be the symptoms or the feedback saying you're not present. When the criticism amps up, I know this one well. When there's an amped up criticism or amped up reactivity or emotional state, it's usually because she's actually mirroring back to me, I'm not fully listening, I'm not fully present, I'm not fully here, I'm not attuning. And it's perfectly natural for her to be pissed about that, because what she's looking for is her man to lead her. So listening. Envisioning. Envisioning is such an important piece, because women, and when I say feminine, it's not always gender specific. We all have a feminine inside of ourselves. And I know this about the feminine essence in me. Feminine essence that often can be highlighted in women when choosing a partner, just like biologically, women with a womb will have more of a feminine essence in certain places, and want a masculine to lead. That's general. I'm overgeneralizing just for this teaching point. There's so many nuances, and my invitation is find your own orientation within what I'm sharing in my experience for this video. Feminine essence is forever changing. it's constant change. That is feminine energy. It is the great mystery. When we look at life, it's the unpredictable. When we look at the planet that is described in ancient cultures as feminine, there's tsunamis and volcanoes and earthquakes and forest fires, and it's brutal and it's divine and beautiful, like pristine glassy oceans and sunrises and sunsets and nature and animals. It's like so beautiful, but it's also mysterious. It's so incredibly mysterious. And feminine essence in ourselves and our partners is that. That's why it's looking for leadership. That's why it's looking for containment. It's looking for help to be in that experience. Now, when I talk about envisioning, what I mean here is what a partner's really wanting from you. If you want to learn how to lead in love in your relationship as a man, you need to be clear in your vision. And then you also need to be clear in the shared vision. Now, that's something you co-create and you figure out together. But what she's needing from you that you are in control of is you being clear in your vision. Where are you going? What are you evolving into? Masculine energy is the energy of becoming. Who are you becoming? Where are your growth edges? What are your patterns? Are you aware there's a little person inside of you, underdeveloped parts, the inner child, that can show up, that impact the quality of connection? Like, are you clear in your vision? Are you clear in your own direction? Are you accountable to taking responsibility for your health and your body, your mind? Like, do you work out regularly? Are you exercising? Do you have a clear vision for your lived life and who you're becoming? This doesn't mean having it all figured out now, but are you clear? Are you envisioning where you want to go? If so, great. Bring that leadership and bring that direction to her and invite what the shared vision is. These God-given unique qualities between the two of you coming together. What is your shared vision? What is life inviting you to bring into the world? Now, when we move down to act, so we touched we touched listening and vision, and now we're down to act in lead. Act, action, initiation. I like to look at action as also initiative. Your partner needs you to take the initiative and act in the moment. Be accountable to your word. She wants you to be the one that can lead a hard conversation, that can lead a repair if there's been a rupture in your connection. She needs to really feel you act in a way that she feels really cared for and supported. So what this can look like is, planning planning date nights, planning evenings where you two are going to be intimate, and you leading it, acting in a way where it's like you acting first. Because we're the feminine, and I've watched this over the years of working with both women and men. I started working with women. I mostly work with men now. Is like women really want to be given the experience of space from having to lead and plan and figure everything out. It's infuriating for them because for them to touch their soft, juicy feminine, they need a break from them leading. So what this looks like is you acting in a way where it takes weight off of her mental load, off of her, having to figure things out. So this can look so many different kinds of ways. This can be you leading dinner. This could be you taking action and, seeing the things that she spends a lot of time and energy on. And for a day, you do them and you give her space to go just be herself, be connected to herself, connect with friends. This could be you planning an intimate night where you bring in some sort of practice that deepens a relationship. There's these relational cards that you can get, from a company that we're actually partnered with. I'll put the link actually below if you're interested, but it's from a company called Skin Deep, and there's these different cards that you can pull, and you just ask each other questions, and You don't have to think of all the questions, but the intention of this is to deepen intimacy. It's some way you making the first move. Act is about you making the first move. If you can start to do that more of the time in your day-to-day connection, you will start to experience the soft, juicy part of your partner that you've maybe been longing for and a bit disappointed of not feeling. When you start to do these things will show up a lot differently. And then now moving down to the last one, and that is devote. Devotion is such a missing quality for so many men in our culture. And it's the thing when we're talking about sacred relationship and leading in love and leading in relationship, it's paramount. It's necessary. Women need to feel a man devoted to the relationship. This means both feed in, turning towards, focus is on his mission, but also in care of the relationship, devoted to becoming a more mature man so that she can drop into more of her mature feminine. She needs to feel that devotion. She needs to feel what Courtney and I call in our work the sacred we. She needs to feel sacred we language, where you are leading with your language of this is what we're building together. I want to figure this out with you. Let's create this together. When you give her your quality of devotion, she can soften, settle into the part of her that is light, energy, and beauty. That's the juicy feminine that you're wanting. But if she can feel you as the container, another way of looking at this is like you're the bowl, the masculine essence is the bowl, and then she's the water in the bowl. She needs to feel the bowl for her to be in the juicy water. If you're not the bowl, if there isn't devotion, if there aren't all these qualities, of listening, of envisioning and acting and devoting, then everything kind of falls flat. The polarity disappears. It neutralizes. It's not sexy for either of you. The charge just goes away. But if these qualities are there and you're leading well, whew, juicy feminine online. And there's nothing sexier to a woman than feeling a man who's devoted to his mission, devoted to who he's here to become, and devoted to her, the relationship. If you have kids, to the kids and what they're needing to feel safe and welcomed. And that is a game changer. Another way that I like to look at this is how I see it is the feminine claims her partner and the masculine devotes to her partner. That's the sacred reciprocity. That's the sacred agreement. And when that devotion is there, oh my God, and this is from lived experience, every time I deepen my capacity to grow up and mature by my devotion to my own practice, which I'll go into a little deeper before we end, oh my God, Courtney offers over a deeper sexiness, a want to pleasure, uh, lots of reflections on what I provide, which feels so good for the masculine, is being told where, this is one of the deepest ingredients for men, is when they're told how they're being, like how they're trustworthy, the ways that they're trusted, and what's provided for. Oh, then more of those reflections and mirrors come in instead of the criticism and all the judgments. It's like that feels so good. But what we have to offer the relationship is devotion. I have to be devoted to my own well-being, my hygiene, my me learning, in this field of business, and all the areas that I'm here to grow and learn, to become a better coach and guide to men, and the way that I lead events, and all of these ingredients. That's me devoted to my mission and who I'm becoming, and then the devotion to the relationship, which is me showing up in repair daily whenever there's little ruptures. Going back to that piece that I shared earlier, is it's attuning to when repair is needed. Oh, there was a miss there. Oh, she looks a little hurt. I'm going to check in about that. And if I devote to that practice regularly, if you devote to this practice regularly, complete game changer. Complete game changer. So I highly encourage you to go through this, maybe even watch this again, take notes, and spend some time So what you can do next here is I want to invite you to spend some time journaling and reflecting on what I shared here, and see with these qualities, where are some areas you could improve in listening and envisioning and action and devotion. Are you strong in those qualities? Do like a proper assessment. And when you do that and be real with yourself and see the areas you could grow and improve, and maybe even a way you could lead is take this to your partner and let it be a conversation between the two of you. Maybe even go back and like send her this video and watch it with her, you two together, to see if she feels resonant in this, if she feels attuned to, even in this content of like, oh, that is what I need. Oh my God. And then have her maybe even share the places where she's seeing you in those qualities and what it does for her. Can be a total game changer to bring you guys into more allyship, because sacred relationship, why you would even want to learn how to lead in partnership is so that you can experience the divine qualities by you two being in the sacred we, being allies in your awakening together, which just means, evolving into the person that you were born to become, that you were here to become. Now, before I end, I want to give you things to look out for in this. Things to watch out for are nice guy syndrome and macho alpha. Like I said in the beginning, one of the most common things that happen for men is domination and disappearing. Two sneaky things that can show up is the nice guy and the macho alpha of like, no, I'm going to lead. But then it kind of shifts into that dominating, controlling energy. We want to find the soft edges of what I call gentle power. I want to come into gentle power, where you are learning how to lead and guide with lots of check-ins and attunement and curiosity from the partner. Get the relational feedback. Get the relational feedback. And then the nice guy. The nice guy syndrome is where, there can be the quality of just yes all the time, like just the yes man, the taking care of everyone else's needs over personal needs. It's really important when learning how to embody and practice higher levels of leadership that we don't lose ourselves. We don't want to be too controlling, but we also don't want to be a people pleaser. A leader, someone who is leading, isn't actually leading if they're from people pleasing and abandoning their own needs. That's why that last part of lead, which is devotion, is so important, is we have to be into the devotion of our own personal practice, number one, so that we're connected and clear in who we are and what we need, and then leading and guiding from the overflow. It's a key piece there to know that we're not in nice guy syndrome. We are giving from the overflow of tending ourselves so well. That's important in leadership, because if we aren't doing that, we're not actually leading. Super important. There's a lot of people in leadership roles that aren't practicing what they preach. They're not taking care of themselves, but they're guiding and leading everyone else. But then inside, there's a void, there's a disconnect, and then that just creates a big mess. So for true, connected, divine leadership, we need to be tending ourselves and giving from the overflow. So you can even apply the lead to yourself. Go back and are you leading yourself well? Go back through those, go back through lead, all those 4 ingredients. Are you doing that with yourself? Are you tuning to yourself? Are you clear in your vision? Are you acting on what you say you're going to do? Do you follow through with clarity in your direction? Are you devoting to your well-being and your vitality, your evolution, your growth? So great. That overflow will then spill into your partner, into the people that you're meant to lead. And that is where things become really fulfilling, really juicy. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know in the comments. Like this, subscribe, so that you don't, my friend, miss out on all the future content that is going to help you become a more embodied, mature, divine masculine, what I call the initiated man, where you can become a mature, initiated man and lead with that in your life to feel more fulfilled, a deeper sense of inner peace and satisfaction in your day-to-day lived experience.